The crew was awakened at about 7:17 a.m. Central Time this morning, 6:17 p.m. over in Baikonur, which is about 9 hours prior to the launch. And then they participated in all of the final pre-launch activities. Before departing for the launch pad, all three observed the very long-standing tradition of autographing the doors at the Cosmonaut Hotel in Baikonur, Kazakhstan. You can see each one taking the turn here. You can see a number of different international partner astronauts with signatures across the door. Again, they sign their names, write their flight, and sign the date as well. And they do this every single time before a flight. So Acaba will have 2 signatures now on these doors, as will Misurkin, and this the first time for Vande. And then before departing the Cosmonaut Hotel, they get a blessing from a Russian Orthodox priest who also the day before goes out and blesses the rocket on the pad.
Now the main folks will go. What about the backup crew?
And you can see the backup crew in the background there. 2 NASA astronauts, Scott Tingle and Shannon Walker, and Russian cosmonaut Anton Shkaplerov. Then at about 10:17 a.m. this morning here in Houston, or 9:17 at night over in Baikonur, they departed the Cosmonaut Hotel to board a bus to ride out to the Integration and Suit-Up facility at Building 254 on the Baikonur Cosmodrome. You can see the crew walk out here, getting a chance to wave to all the folks gathered there to watch the day's launch, including members of the media, but also family members, friends, and program guests from both NASA and the Russian Space Agency, Roscosmos.
Thank you. Bye, Dad.
And again, the first step in their journey was to depart the Cosmonaut Hotel, and then they arrived at Building 254, the Integration and Suit-Up facility, at about 10:02 p.m. at nighttime over in Baikonur. Once there, each of the crew member undergoes final medical exams and then gets suited up in their Sokol launch and entry suits. These are the white pressurized suits that you can see Misurkin getting into first, that they wear throughout all of the activities, the launch, the docking, all the dynamic aspects of the flight of this Soyuz vehicle. And again, each of these suits able to be pressurized throughout the flight, so just in the instance of a loss of cabin pressure, they have the suits as that backup capability to keep the astronauts safe. A team of specialists from Roscosmos and Energia responsible for suiting up each of the crew members. Again, this happening right after their final medical checkups. All of the crew members kept in quarantine for about 2 weeks or so, just before the flight, just to help ensure that they're as healthy as possible before this flight into that very enclosed environment of the space station. But following this, they'll move into another room to get pressure checks on all of these suits. But the suit up definitely the first step once they're at this integration facility.
Okay, for photographers, 2 minutes together. And look here.
And again, now they come into this room where one by one they load into a mock-up of an actual seat inside the Soyuz vehicle, and their suits are pressurized up to their flight pressure. This just to ensure all the seals, everything, good integrity on the suits themselves. And you can see the mock-up of the Soyuz seat there. The actual liner for each one of these seats is custom molded inside the actual spacecraft to the astronauts. This to ensure that they have as tight of a fit, primarily for the actual landing phase of the Soyuz, when it's a little bit more jarring. And that tightly molded seat for each of the crew members helps to keep them very much in place and help minimize any potential injury, anything like that. But again, you'll see the suits puff up a little bit as they get pressurized. One by one, Misurkin going first, Vande second, and Acaba third. And then we should see shortly, as this camera is looking through a pane of glass, on the other side of this glass, family, friends, and program officials from NASA and Roscosmos gathered, as you can see here, to watch them during these final suit-ups and get one final chance to speak to the crew members before they head over to the rocket.
That's a good picture. Very good picture. And now video. So this one is for Grandma. And as a producer, trust me, I know how to do this. Well, let Grandma sit. You can take pictures on the side. Let Grandma sit down.
No, it just closes up as soon as like it seals it shut and opens it. It determines the differential pressure between the suit and outside.
What's the first thing you're going to eat when you get there?
Good question. Whatever they give me. I think the crew that's up there is waiting for our arrival. It's kind of helped set up our living accommodations and our first meal and stuff like that. No. No, it's an indication that the training is really good because so far it feels like everything we've done in training.
Not for the minute.
Not for the minute.
Hello.
How are you?
Grandma wants to know why you have two lunches.
The pasta filled with meat, like a big dumpling.
A big dumpling. No shots though, right? You drive?
And everybody in the world's listening. Teach me that one.
I forgot to ask you got any EVAs scheduled?
What is that?
EVAs.
Well, we have 3 coming up in October-ish time frame, and so we're looking at the, who's who, but yeah, we have 3 coming up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Grandma said
Tell the real. You got 6 months.
That would be awesome. Go back for spring break.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm down with that. I'm working.
Бабушка тебя видит, я буду передается.
We'll do it with the fishes.
Oh, look at this.
You guys will leave, and I think we'll
I
talk to
can
the
neither
manager
confirm
for a
nor
bit.
deny the presence of any company.
We'll be back by 5.
You can be there by 4.
Yeah.
It's prime time. I think they were there.
And then after the families had a chance to speak, several program officials from both Roscosmos and NASA having the opportunity to speak to the crew members as well.
We're here. We got you. Call me, write me. Have a good time up there. And best of
Желаю
luck.
вам хорошего полета,
Wish you good
успешного
flight
возвращения.
and successful
Одним
return.
словом, чтобы все прошло.
And let everything go well
Спасибо вам.
with no issues.
Space flight, human space flight's a team sport, and unfortunately there's not enough room in the Soyuz for your entire team, but no, the rest of your team is here on the planet, ready to support you and ready to take care of you. So you guys have a great time on orbit, and know we're here on the planet ready to work with you.
We'll be carrying the whole team in our hearts.
Thank you so much.
Have a great expedition. There's plenty of fun things for you on orbit. Enjoy your time on station and take good care of the station for us.
We will. Thank you.
Звучат фанфары в исполнении Ланчакова. Поэтому
And I can't follow Lonchikov's speech. All I can say is have a safe flight, good luck,
полета, качественной работы.
do quality work, and of course, as always, we will be glad to see you, to greet you back here on Earth. All the best to you. Again, congratulate you. Congratulations for the work that you're about to do. You will work, you're going to work well, you're going to work hard, be safe in this flight. And the work on the station is in your hands, and we look forward to hearing you back on the Earth.
And after speaking to those officials, which the two NASA ones we heard from were Kurt Shireman first, who's the Space Station Program Manager, and William Gersemeyer, the Associate Administrator for Human Exploration and Operations. The crew members were ready to walk out. And getting a chance to wave one final time before boarding their bus, which they boarded at about 1:17 p.m. Central Time, midnight 17 over in Baikonur. Crew is ready to depart building 254 and ride over to launch pad number 1. The drive typically takes about 25 minutes, so they arrived at the pad at about 1:42 p.m. Central, 12:42 a.m. in Baikonur, and then getting ready to get down the bus again, assisted by various members of Roscosmos and NASA. The one just helping the astronauts off there is former Russian cosmonaut Yuri Malenchenko, who's accumulated more time in space than just about everybody else in the history of both space programs.
The crew of the manned transport vehicle Soyuz, we are reporting for today. The rocket is ready to welcome you.
Tradition, taking a moment to turn around and wave one last time before making their way to the elevator and on up into the Soyuz spacecraft. Just behind them, billowing oxygen was fueled just about 3 hours prior to the planned liftoff time. And these crew members, after they headed up the elevator into the spacecraft, were strapped in, and they've been on board now for almost 2 hours. Again, Misurkin, Acaba, and Vande suited up inside the spacecraft and ready for launch.